In the outskirts of Oregon, Bill stops his car and changes his clothes to burn them while remembering all the violence he just went through. This started 2 days ago. Bill is a 23-year-old guy living with his hardworking parents. He's in a constant state of anger and frustration, caused by his obsessive consumption of depressive news about the state of the world and videos from edgy influencers. To burn through this frustration, Bill punches a bag, lifts weights, or plays darts in his room. When he's in front of his parents, Bill pretends to be a chill dude. One morning things get difficult when Bill's parents inform it's about time for him to move out of the house. Bill snaps as he spills the juice, reminding his parents that the deal consisted of him living with them until he had enough saved money for his post-education because he wants to do this on his own. His father points out some of that money could go to rent, and Bill accuses him of guilt tripping. An argument ensues, but the parents need to leave for work, so they tell Bill that they'll help him out for a few years but they still want to discuss the matter properly over dinner later. Afterward, Bill drives downtown and goes to a coffee shop, where he orders a double espresso macchiato with extra foam. The barista finishes the order quickly, but Bill is disappointed by what he sees, claiming it isn't a macchiato because it doesn't have foam. An argument ensues and Bill returns the coffee while asking for his money back, but the barista thinks he's an idiot and refuses to return the money. Bill storms off only to return a second later and take some stuff from the counter before leaving again, so the barista uses the chance to throw a roll at his head. Moments later, Bill is at work in a garage fixing a van. Suddenly his boss shows up and points out his lunchtime is over, so he should be working on cars instead of wasting time on the van. Bill asks him to treat his best worker better and asks for a raise, but his boss tells him off. Bill has no choice but to work with the cars, but first he leaves a mysterious bag inside the van. After work, Bill meets his only friend Evan, a rebel influencer who makes videos about opposing social norms and complaining about the system. Evan gives Bill 2 packages and asks him to stop sending stuff to his house because his father doesn't like it. He also wants to know what's in the packages but Bill just says it's a surprise. Then Bill decides they're grabbing a bite at the chicken den, although Evan doesn't approve of the company because he believes in animal rights and orders a salad. Once they have their food, the boys eat while discussing their upcoming paintball game and are interrupted when the employee comes by to pick up the tray. She ends up accidentally spilling their meals on them and at first the guys laugh, but while she cleans, they demand an apology and their money back. The employee says she'll redo their orders but she can't return the money, causing Bill to ask for the manager until Evan calms him down. After their new order arrives, they eat while watching people on the street, which inspires a rant from Evan about overpopulation, the destruction of natural resources, contamination, and people's obsession with money. Bill responds that Evan's too pessimistic and that he's all talk but no action. Later when Bill returns home, his parents are waiting for him to have a serious talk. They're a bit angry because Bill hasn't called and missed dinner, so he apologizes and promises they'll have the talk in the morning because he'll have exciting news then. Afterward Bill goes to his room, where he reads books and magazines related to the world's problems while hearing the news on the radio, which also talks about violence. Bill keeps picturing all those crimes in his head and eventually abandons reading to open his packages instead. It turns out he's ordered a full bulletproof armor and he starts putting it together while listening to Evan's latest video, during which he talks about the world needing people who actually stand up and believe in action. Bill makes fun of him, calling him precious. After finishing working on the armor and some wires, Bill also prints a bunch of fake money. Next he films a video of his own, still making fun of Evan for thinking people are equal and not doing anything. The next morning, Bill works out harder than ever before joining his parents for breakfast. Bill suddenly informs them that today he's going to be proactive. He took the day off from work so he could stay home and fill out college applications, hoping to study mechanical engineering. The parents are shocked to hear this but also very proud and show great support for their son's decision. Afterward Bill gathers his things as glimpses of his video are shown, during which he says that unlike Evan, he's going to take action. His things include not only the armor but also lots of weapons that Bill puts together with ease. When he's done, he looks like a SWAT team agent, and he can't help admiring himself in the mirror while his mind keeps running through all the horrible news in Evan's speech. It's also revealed that his video shows Bill saying balance is created by survival of the fittest, so he'll kill every person that is using recourses but their existence isn't beneficial for society, like cancer patients. Then Bill leaves in his car, but he stops in the middle of the road to change into a different vehicle that doesn't have a license plate. While he drives, Bill keeps on remembering everything Eva, his parents, and the news said to him, which keeps him motivated. Eventually he makes it to the middle of the town, where he can see the van he had been working on parked nearby. Using a wireless device, he starts and drives the van, almost hitting people and other cars in the process. He guides the van toward the police station and makes it crash into the building, destroying the reception and hurting a few officers. The cops that are still standing check the back of the van and are shocked to find a bomb that Bill immediately detonates, causing the whole station to explode. This will keep the cops busy for a while and Bill can continue with his plan. Next Bill stops the car on a busy avenue and gets out to shoot at a driver, causing them to crash. Then he starts shooting at random people on the street, which causes major chaos as everyone screams and runs away. Car and shop alarms begin ringing all over the place as Bill continues to kill people, and eventually 2 cops arrive to stop him. However, their bullets can't do anything to the armor and Bill kills them too. Afterward, he returns to the main avenue to keep on shooting people without mercy, only stopping if he needs to reload. He even asks a woman if she's scared before killing her too. The massacre continues for several minutes, and by then Bill has started to enter stores too. After killing everyone at a diner, he goes to the cafe with the barista that told him off and asks for the same order. The barista doesn't recognize him and prepares the order, but Bill gets furious because it's lacking foam again. He gives the barista the chance to run as he starts counting, and when he reaches 5, he kills the barista outside. Next, Bill enters a beauty salon and shoots in the air as a warning before cornering all the employees and clients against the wall. Then he takes off his helmet and gets some water, explaining the armor is very hot. He also takes a seat to rest and begins making fun of the victims for sounding so scared. Some of the women beg for mercy and mention their families, so Bill says he feels nauseous and leaves the shop without killing anyone. However, he returns 2 seconds later to corner the people in the salon again and shoot them all at the same time because they saw his face. Bill's next stop is the bingo, where a bunch of elderly people are too busy playing to pay attention to him. He decides to get some food, and this clerk does notice he's crazy, so he doesn't charge him for it. Bill sits at a table among the old people and takes a bite of his sandwich, but he hates the taste of it. Feeling his anger boiling, Bill approaches the caller and steals the latest number as he calls it for everyone, but nobody reacts except for the caller, who asks him politely to give the number back. Bill realizes that these people don't need his help because they're pretty much dead already and leaves. Afterward, Bill drives to the local bank while listening to the radio, which is already covering all his crimes. Once he makes it to the bank, he parks horribly and immediately opens fire on the upcoming guard before going inside. While he makes everyone back away from the alarms, suddenly an employee jumps on him from behind and makes him fall, but Bill quickly overpowers him and kills him with a knife. People start to panic, so Bill shoots a bunch of them before asking the manager to open the safe. While the manager searches for the key, Bill makes an employee empty the register in a bag. Next, the manager pretends he doesn't know the safe's password, so Bill starts talking to him by alternating between understanding and insults until the guy finally gets it open. Once all the money is in the bag, Bill rushes back to his car, puts the bag with the real money in the trunk, and takes out the bag with the fake bills he printed. Then he makes a show out of setting the money on fire while yelling that money is useless. After Bill leaves in his car, the bank manager comes out and sees the burned money, so he calls the sheriff. Meanwhile, Bill continues to drive while listening to the reporters talk about all his crimes. Using the radio, he catches the police's frequency and learns they're searching for him. These cops were coming into town through Cross Road. At that moment, Bill gets a phone call from his mother, so he quickly lies and says he hasn't left the house while pretending not to know about the incidents in town. Moments later, Bill stops at the chicken den and kills the employee that spilled their meals yesterday. At that moment, Evan calls him and scolds him for being late, since they're supposed to be playing paintball in the woods now. Bill says he's running errands and that he'll be there soon. On his way to the forest, Bill stops at Cross Road and plants a huge bomb behind the welcome sign before going back to his car to wait. Evan calls him again because he's tired of waiting, but Bill convinces him to wait for him for 10 more minutes, even saying he'll kill him if he doesn't. When the cops finally show up in 2 vehicles, Bill detonates the bomb and the explosion hits one of the cars, making it flip. The car with the sheriff manages to avoid the explosion, and when Bill sees them coming, he immediately takes off in his car, triggering a chase on the road. They also exchange a few shots but miss them all, so the sheriff makes the driver bump Bill's car, but he bumps them back and that's enough for him to speed up, leaving them behind. Moments later, when the sheriff and his officers finally catch up to Bill, he's already left the car with his money bag in hand. He hands behind a fence and warns the officers not to follow him, but when the cops do it anyway and open fire, Bill uses a detonator to blow up his car before running away. The 2 deputies die, but the sheriff is fine and proceeds to enter the forest to look for Bill. It only takes him a few moments to get lost, and when he's distracted, Bill appears behind him and stabs him. The sheriff tries to shoot him, but Bill just pushes him away before leaving him to bleed to death. Afterward, Bill rushes to finally meet Evan and shows him the bag full of money. While Evan is distracted, Bill uses a stun gun to knock him down, then he puts a gun on Evan's hand. By guiding it to the correct spot, Bill shoots and kills Evan, making it look like he self-deleted to be the martyr he always wanted to be. After putting his armor on Evan, Bill drives away until he reaches a secure spot where he can change into clean clothes and burn all the evidence, getting back to the beginning. Then he puts on clean clothes and goes home, where he rests on the couch and watches the news. At that moment, his parents arrive and think he's been here all day. The reporter on TV announces the police have found Evan and confirms he was behind the massacre, so Bill tells his parents Evan was his only friend. Feeling bad for their son, they decide not to ask him about the college applications and share a hug. After Bill goes to bed, the parents agree they'll have to send Bill to a psychologist because he's bottling his grief up. In his bedroom, Bill begins packing all the money into a suitcase while seeing on TV that Evan's father is being arrested. The man used to be a radical protester in the 60s and has always been anti-government, so they suspect he was behind Evan's actions. On the screen, Evan's dad screams Bill did all this, but nobody believes him, so Bill escapes his home without trouble. 2 years after the massacre, Bill's video appears online. He explains that there's no chance to survive and begins ranting about the need to kill people to save natural resources, saying he'll do population control for the sake of humanity. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.